neighbors, it's Sharon from Grace's Neighbor Sharon, and I'm finally doing a Christmas in July video. Our hosts are Tiffany from Simply Blessed Crafts and Jette from Craft Along with Jay. I'll have their channel links and a link to the playlist in my description box below. I hope you enjoy what I put together. It's a little bit of July with a little bit of Christmas in each project. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the video. Project number 1 is a little stand-up wreath. So I'm going to show you how I put Christmas and summer together. This is a beaches calendar, coastal. Oh gosh, I said it at the beginning, but I forget. Coastal dreams. Okay. And I really liked the front of this calendar, so I'm going to use the circle shape I have here, and I'm going to cut out a circle to fit this piece of wood, and then we're going to glue that to a little stand with a little wreath on it and a bow. So first let's cut out the circle-shaped image. And I liked on that side of the image because it had the greenery in the forefront and then the water in the back. And I just thought that balanced out really nicely. So this is a little like a photo stand. So you would trim your photos and put it in the photo stand. But we're going to use it to make a little Christmas in July project. So there's some burnt umber paint that I didn't realize was so watery. And when I went to tap it out, it went all over the place. You know, and I had just got my hands all washed, my nails trimmed and clean, and then bam, all over the place. So I cleaned up enough that I could do some work. And what I'm doing here is just using a wet paper towel to rub that color into that blonde wood. I like rubbing the burnt umber into the wood. I just find it makes it a little bit more upscale, if you will. I forgot to film, but I did do a coat of Mod Podge on the front there. You saw me picking off the edges there. So it's already got the Mod Podge on it, and now I'm going to grab a little piece of parchment paper and my mini hippo heat press. We're just going to keep going round and round and making sure I get the edges, because that's where it's going to peel off. And I like using sandpaper. I know I cut it off because I wanted it to be good shape. But yeah, just a little bit of sandpaper and it's perfect. Now, this is about my third try with the word joy. Originally, I was going to use joy in all 3 projects, but you'll see in the second project what happened. So I just put them on my stamper thing and set them down, and I just pressed down with my finger, and the little letter just came up on my finger. Now I do go back with black marker and go over it just a little bit to make it a little darker. And then I'm going to use some of that I think it's called Aliens Tacky Glue. And in between, we'll use some hot glue. And that'll be on there for a good long time. I notice if I just use hot glue for wood that it falls off at some point. It might be a year later. It might be 2 years later. But I've seen them like fall apart. So that's why I like to use the 2 different kinds of glue. Now I have one of those little bottles of tiny, tiny seashells. So what I'm doing is adding more beachy stuff. And that's in tune with of course, the summer, the July, because everyone goes to the beach, right, and collects shells. So it was a way to make a stand and get joy in there, because Christmas is all about joy, and I love making joy ornaments. I have this wreath for the Christmas part, and it's a branch. I have a couple, maybe two of those Christmas branches, and then I wrapped it with a pick of eucalyptus. It's a nice dark eucalyptus, and it goes perfectly with that Christmas branch. And I hot glued it, but you have to hold on to it for a little while, or else it just sort of like bends away. So it was perfect size. We got it hot glued all the way around. I put a little piece of ribbon on the post, and then I tied just a shoelace bow. And this ribbon actually has starfish. It has starfish on it. I just did a little shoelace bow there, and you'll get some good views at it during the final reveal. Project number 2 is a beachy Christmas shelf sitter. It could also be a centerpiece. The image comes from Bloom Where You Were Planted 2026, and that came from Dollar Tree. You'll see the letters there. I was going to paint the letters for joy in black and put them on the images, but they were too big. I like the idea of everything having joy in it, but it just wasn't going to work. So I'm going to get the glare off of this little silver tray here. I'm just using some really dark brown chalk paint. And then right away, before it even totally dries, I'm going to get the white on there. So some places the white's going to cover the brown, and other places the brown is going to mix in with the white. And I kind of like that look. It's like an old beachy look. Okay, and now we're going to get some Mod Podge on the front of these cubes. And this was kind of messed up when I was doing it. Like, I was putting images on the sides or the back, and I tried to edit it to make it easier for you guys to see and easier for you to understand how to do it. So I'm going to show you one cube, and I'm putting like images on the cube to see which ones I like. Of course, I decide on the one right in the middle. But yes, I did the creases. You know, it's a loose crease. It's not going to be a perfect cut, because I'm going to sand it like I always do. And I really love the look of sanding something. It's weird because it's imperfect, but it gives you like a perfect edge, if that makes sense. Okay, then I got a little piece of parchment paper here. I'm going to trim everything because I don't need it too big. I have too much stuff on my desk to begin with. Okay, and I'm going to press that down. Though even the warmth from my hand helps it stick. But I'm going to go over it with this little Hippo heat press. And I make sure to do right over the edges, so if they get bumped or whatever, the image isn't going to peel off. And then here's where I put the image on the wrong side. So you'll see the camera days there. That's the part of the calendar that was on the wood. So when you wash it off, it kind of stays there. So I cut off as much of that as I could. And then I turned the cube so it was on the inside so you couldn't really see it. So I did that same thing, the good part, with all three. I found an image I liked, got it on there, did the sanding, and that's what it looks like on the little tray. I'm just taking some old floral foam I have. It's in a lot of little pieces, so we're just going to jam them in there to hold our flowers. Here's some red carnations from Dollar Tree. I'm going to trim them all off the pick, one in each to start, and then a lot of times you can't see what a crafter is doing when they're putting in the flowers, so I'm going to sort of like super edit through them, and I bumped into the calendar, but I didn't notice till after, and so it's a little askew here, but it'll work. I used some more flowers from the 4th of July picks that had the red, white, and blue. Didn't use any blue though, but did use some of the red, and I put a cup of white in the middle. And then you couldn't really tell, but I put the shells and the net, and you'll see a better look in the final reveal. And project number 3 is Seek Joy, any month of the year, and it's from the Seek Wonder calendar from the Dollar Tree. So it's funny, I go to July in this calendar, and on the back is an image with the word joy in it. And at that time, I was still planning on doing each project with the word joy in it. So when I was planning out the video, I was setting stuff out, I was like, oh my gosh, it's not a Christmas image, but it's Seek Joy. I gotta use it. I didn't realize the flowers and words were as big as they were. I keep forgetting. I think these calendars are like 12 by 12. So, that's even bigger than an 8 by 10 that people are used to. So I had some frames set out, and it ends up, it's better on this canvas. Now, I kind of took the lazy way out. I think it might look better on a reverse canvas where you pull the canvas off the wood, and then you can put the image on when it's off of the wood and then staple it back on the wood. That actually might be easier. But anyway, this is how I did it, and I still like how it turns out. So I decided that Seek Joy was going to be in the corner. I thought that was the best way to do it. I thought about cutting the individual flowers and leaves, but I guess I must have been tired when I was doing this, because I did take the easy way out. So it was a pretty bad cutting job. But what I'm doing is I'm getting the edges down like I always do. Well, but it was hard to do the middle because, it's not on that wood frame as tight as it should be. So you kind of got to hold on to the canvas while you're ironing it. And that's a hippo heat press. Technically not an iron, but it's what it was meant for. And then I thought, well, why don't I put it upside down and do a little hippo heat press on that side. And that worked actually pretty good. I also tried just holding onto the canvas so it was a little bit tighter and putting it on its edge like that. And that seemed to work a little bit too. So you can try any of those ideas, or you may have one of your own. Let me know. You're welcome to give me ideas. Yeah. So this is just some rope. It's kind of too small, but I couldn't find like a medium size rope. Is kind of what I was looking for, but this one will have to do. So I just went around it once. I didn't really want to, go overboard with the rope. I just wanted to get a little bit of that beachy, rustic look. And I wanted to get some more beachy stuff in there. So we got this blue, I think it's faux burlap ribbon. And I let the tails a little long. And then that cool ribbon with the starfish on it. and I glued that onto the blue. And then I thought, oh, it needs something else. And then I had the snow there that I hadn't used yet. So I just used some hot glue, let it fall, and then tapped it. And then I thought, well, it needs to pile up on the edges because, you know, if you had a window and it was snowing out, that's how the snow falls on the window. Yes, I know snow. I used to live in Canada, so I'm familiar with it. Well, that's pretty much it for this one. Seek joy. Christmas is all about joy. And the beach is the starfish. And some better looks at this during the final reveal.